I'm Nick DiPaolo with Soul Collector Magazine, and welcome to Inside the Designer Studio, our original series where we talk to some of the best footwear designers in the industry. And so one of the shoes you did was the Pegasus, which is, of course, the most known and longest lasting series that Nike did. What was it like taking on such a big franchise and having the pressure to really, you know, the Pegasus is the most loyal, to me at least, one of the most loyal fan bases ever.
I worked on the Pegasus right after Sean McDowell did one that was, I forget the year of it. That shoe was very successful, and I was following up that shoe, so, you know, I just wanted to make sure I continued to really make it a great functioning shoe, great performance. I tried to make it more breathable and you know, still keep great aesthetics to it. But when you're like working on a shoe like the Pegasus or the Hyperdunk, or there's kind of a legacy to it, and there's always that feeling of you know, I don't want to screw this up, or so there's an added pressure for sure.
And you referenced the Hyperdunk, which is, of course, you know, the biggest franchise right now for basketball in terms of team product. How'd that come about, and what was the initial brief that you really got handed with?
Leo sort of specifically wanted to hire me to come in and work on like the Hyperdunk and some of the non-signature but still very important shoes for the category, because in the past I think he had done the previous several Hyperdunks, and he was also you know, doing KD, so he was like as a design director, he was like really spread thin. You know, coming in, I told him that I wanted to work on performance, and I really like just making sure that, you know, shoes perform. And the first thing I did, I think, was I looked at all the previous years of the Hyperdunk and just tried to learn, you know, what was successful, what was kind of the look of the Hyperdunk, and kind of the things that I felt that could follow through into the next one, you know.
So when you started to set out and design the Hyperdunk, what were some of the things that were kind of instilled in the brief, whether it was the full lunar platform or the Flywire? And then what were some things that you really wanted to play around and have fun with? I assume the heel being part of that.
The Hyperdunk, it always, in basketball, it's, you know, it always has represented kind of the pinnacle performance shoe, the go-to shoe for teams. And then we also, you know, want it to be like a statement level aesthetic that is really, you know, fresh and clean. When we were in design, we were talking about, you know, the shoe has to move with the foot, and flex with the foot, and move with the body.
In the Hyperdunk too, it just has so many guys, and I think it's like, you know, 30-something% of the league that wears that shoe. Was there anybody in particular that you got feedback from along the way, or any athletes that you got feedback just because it's been such a big franchise for basketball?
Early on, Blake Griffin was kind of our Hyperdunk guy, but then he moved to Jordan. But we used to just kind of like to use him as a little bit of inspiration for the shoe. Now, Kyrie Irving, we kind of reference sometimes for the Hyperdunk, and he really likes wearing it. So the idea of having a shoe that can work for both players is definitely something that the Hyperdunks, you know, tries to be.
And you talked about the Pegasus, the Hyperdunk, which are both huge franchises. What was it like once the shoe finally came out and you got to see the response? Some people were weary of how, you know, kind of exploded the heel view was, but what was it like just seeing all the feedback now that you've worked on such a big franchise again?
First off, I really like to hear actually the athletes' comments, you know, and how it's performing in wear test, you know, and it's great to hear that people like it, you know, maybe over the 2012, you know, and love the traction. So I always like to hear how it's performing, and then I think that the aesthetics, I think people, you know, some people maybe don't like the heel that much, but we try to push things in basketball stuff.
You know, as a designer, you were doing trail and running, and a lot of times those are very function-based, and the people that are using them just are using them for their sport. But basketball has this whole other element of culture and lifestyle. What are some things, as you're new to the category, that you're trying to kind of soak in and make sure you kind of inject into the shoes from just a style standpoint?
I think one of the main things I'm trying to incorporate into my shoes in basketball, maybe more so than other categories, is just iconic. You know, I think Leo talked about, you know, you want to make sure the fans up in the bleachers can see the shoe and see the color blocking, and just maybe so the rest. So some of the shoe maybe gets simplified, but you have a very bold, you know, color or statement or feature on the shoe that I think is really important for basketball.
So you have a lot of points of inspiration along a lot of sketches here as well. Can you just walk us through a couple of the starting points and then how things evolved in terms of the design?
Yeah, sure. Marketing was asking us for, you know, what's another way to sort of visualize the lunar language, you know, which is like the bellows and just straight lines. And a lot of the past lunar shoes, they all had just very straight lines in the midsole. So I started exploring, you know, kind of like this expanding bellows look in the heel, and just different languages that almost made the shoe look like it was kind of in movement. And some of these are a little exaggerated, where we were, you know, trying to make the tooling kind of perform two different things, you know, make it look cushioned but still have it supportive in the heels.
All right, well, thanks for coming on the show. I appreciate it. And until next time, we'll have you back.
All right, well, thanks for having me. It's been great.